bir İsrail Büyükelçisi Irit Lillian konuğumuz olacak. Yine İngilizce olacak röportaj. Kusura bakmayın. Belki sonrasında tercüme ederiz. Altyazı yazarız. Yazmaya çalışırız. Ben de mümkün olduğu kadar tercüme etmeye çalışacağım. Kamerasını ayarlamaya çalışıyor kendisi. Alıyorum. Hop. Ms. Lillian, hello, how are you?
Hello.
Well, I mean, I'll start. I understand the Israeli campaign, but I'll start asking Israeli defense ministers, obviously, speech where he said Israel is fighting against animal humans and Israel is cutting electricity, water, and gas towards Gaza. I mean, animal humans? I mean, there are also civilians there, women, children, not only Hamas militants. Why that language? And why are you cutting gas and electricity? I don't understand that.
Well, let's start by the definition. We believe the people who conducted the attack against the Israeli civilians were acting in a very inhuman manner. The kinds of sights that we see coming after the attack, the torturing of babies, of women, killing parents in front of their children, this is the kind of behavior that we will all call inhuman. And such a cruel, vicious attack needs a very strong answer. I believe that our Minister of Defense was using a very harsh language, and the steps that are being taken against Hamas are very harsh. It is not directed towards the civilian population, but rather to teach Hamas that that the Israel response for the type of attack they conducted last Saturday is the one that is meant actually to curb completely its activities and making sure that such attacks or attacks of other terrorist nature would not occur in the future.
But why do children have to pay? I mean, children are dying.
I ask the same question. Why do children have to pay when they were taken hostage, abducted? Would you like to see a situation in which a 9-month-old baby is being torn from his mother's arm and taken as a hostage to serve as a human shield? Yes. Why do babies have to suffer? This is exactly the question we are asking. Exactly.
How about the ground operation? Is Israel setting itself for a ground operation? Is that a possibility?
As our Prime Minister said, all options are on the table. Right now, there is a very large recruitment of our military reserves, and they're ready for every scenario that is going to be decided by the government. As mentioned, the blow on Hamas, Jihadi Islam, and other terrorist organizations is going to be a very harsh one. And all options are on the table, really all options.
Okay, so I mean, the world has to brace itself for a ground operation. I understand. How limited will that be? Probably we'll see it on the ground. I understand. Is that a right interpretation?
I believe that when it starts, we will see where it is going. How is it going to be conducted? Of course, this is not the stage to talk about our future plans in the military sphere.
Hamas made a statement, actually 2 statements right now. I mean, just a few while ago, they are calling for all the Arab world to march towards Gaza on Friday. Probably you heard. And also another declaration from Hamas came, and they are saying, as long as these unannounced attacks continue on Gaza, they're going to kill Israeli hostages one by one. How are you going to respond?
Well, we checked very, very carefully. And these kind of calls, as we are going to execute the hostages one by one, the last time we heard it was from ISIS, from activists of ISIS saying exactly the same thing. Using civilians, innocent civilians, as human shields is something that is not acceptable neither by the international community and its laws, nor by moral values of each and every person in on this planet. As we mentioned before, amongst these abducted people, there are children, there are women, there are elderly people, If you're planning to execute a 90-year-old lady, it shows only one thing, the inhumanity in your heart and nothing else. And as for the call to march towards Gaza, I'm a person that believes in the humanity of human beings, no matter if they are from, I don't know, Polynesia, Antarctica, or the Arab world. People marching towards Gaza to support Hamas and terrorists, the Arab world knew the brutality of people whose ideology blind their eyes and their minds and their hearts. I don't see them marching to Gaza, but rather I would expect them to show their morality in completely other manners.
Egyptian authorities declared that Egyptian trucks that are carrying help were bombed by Israelis, by the Israeli army. Why is Israel bombing trucks that are carrying help?
I haven't heard anything about it and I cannot comment on it.
Okay, so how about the negotiations with Hamas? They have Israeli hostages in their hands, as you said. I understand the Israeli campaign is going on, but at some point, I understand there'll be some negotiations through maybe some mediators. How soon can that be?
We demand the immediate release of all the abducted people without any preconditions. It would be only fair, human, and according to international law to do so. At this point of time, we don't speak about negotiations. We speak about a very concrete demand. And we are actually in a time of war. During war, you don't speak about mediation. You just act. When later on, when the dust will sink, then we will probably see some kind of a mediation. We will probably try and make sure that each and every person comes back home. And again, we'd rather have it sooner than later, immediately, to be more concrete.
Okay. Turkey is eager to mediate. Probably you're following Mr. Erdogan's statements also. How likely for Israel to accept Turkey as a mediator?
As we say, as I said before, it's too early to speak about mediation.
Mr. Erdogan is calling both sides to basically calm down and stop the aggression. How did you perceive Mr. Erdogan's stance on this?
I can understand the interests of Turkey and its willingness to be a mediator and to be considered as very balanced in its stand towards Israel, with whom relations were warmed up, and Palestinians. But on this particular matter, I don't see, and I talk to Palestinian friends and others who just wrote me messages of condolences, were so sorry to see the brutal, unacceptable scene that we have watched on Saturday. And just to be more exact, we are talking now about 900 people who were killed in the most gruesome manner in one day. If you compare it to the number of casualties during the 9/11, that is 5 times more, compared, of course, to the size of population. So we're not talking about being balanced on this particular moment. And I understand the interest and the stand of Turkey, but I think that right now it's a time for empathy and comfort and understand. Or, we have seen all over the world so many leaders who just out of this empathy stand with Israel on this difficult moment.
How do you see the role of Iran in all this?
Iran's influence, Iran's inspiration is there all the time. We can start with the fact that at least at least one of the organizations that claimed responsibility, the Islamic Jihad, is a proxy of Iran. It is financed, directed, inspired by Iran. I would also refer to a tweet which was posted immediately after the attack by the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, in which he praised the perpetrators and called once again for the annihilation of Israel. So when we look at this attack, we can look at it, of course, from a very narrow point of view, which is this point of agony and sorrow. But we can look at it from a much larger spectrum, saying that this call of Iran for the annihilation of a legitimate state in the world is the mother of such barbaric acts. And if you put on top of it the direct involvement of Iran in nourishing terrorist groups, be it, as I mentioned, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, but Hamas as well. They were well funded, they were equipped, technologies were transferred, know-how was transferred, training, etc., worth millions and millions of dollars that are deprived at the end of the day from the citizens of Iran who are suffering from a very miserable economic situation. You put on that all the Iranians' aspirations for nuclear capabilities that they need for what? For the nation of the State of Israel. So if you put it all this part and parcel in one group, you would see, yes, Iran's hands are there, even if they say that they don't have any direct involvement, even if some people believe them, that they don't have any direct involvement in this particular attack. But what is a direct involvement? Do we want to see the Revolutionary Guards on our soil? Definitely not, definitely not. But you don't have to reach this point. They are there. They are there in not only in spirit and body.
Okay, there are questions from our viewers. I'll just share one of them. What will happen to the normalization of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries?
Unfortunately, I don't think there is a direct correlation. I know that for sure, if there is a very vast Israeli operation, then, we always say that when the cannons roam, the muses are silent. But in this particular case, of course, political developments, things that has to do with negotiations between Israel and the Arab world, we should be realistic. Probably they're going to put on hold for a certain time. But we should not look at it again as a tactical move, but rather as a more holistic vision of the Middle East, of peace and stability in the Middle East. And I hope that the leadership of Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries would see the benefit of liaising with Israel and not taking sides with terrorist organizations that at the end of the day are a threat not only to their own people or to their neighbors as we are, but rather to each and every one of the people living in the region.
Did the Egyptian intelligence warn you about this attack before? Because this news was circulating also.
The only thing I can say is quoting the Prime Minister's office saying that they did not have any information about it in advance.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Ambassador.
You're very welcome. And please stand with Israel at that moment.
Thank you.